I'm just doing a quick YouTube while the Cobra Kai gang drives by on their little motorized bikes. Um, just a quick update so that you know that I'm a real person and that I do actually have a face that you can put to the name. I almost never wear makeup. That's why I always look tired, basically. But I am back in physical therapy starting today, although they haven't scheduled, like, today was just the evaluation, but I'm going to be scheduled for it, and it's going to be pretty intensive. It's going to be 5 days a week, at least half a day each time, with including some therapy, right? Because they want to make sure that I have the right mindset, that I'm not experiencing like false pain because of some sort of mental condition like that. I still have to get the nerve testing. That still needs to happen. But it was exhausting just even going through the evaluation. Um, I mean, he didn't like put me through a full workout, but he wanted to test my strength, and that was even exhausting. Plus, I had to run some errands afterwards, and I had to take a break before I could even do that. Like, I had to sit down, rest, and then run my errands because I was just wiped out from that experience. But at least I'm back on track. It's been a while because I was pulled out of physical therapy when I almost fainted um, during the last session that I attended, and I ended up having to spend the night in the hospital. And then my story was stolen by Foodie Beauty, and she still hasn't given any real evidence that she was actually in the ER, and she was out and about within just a couple of days, not even, and eating, doing mukbangs, like having these huge gouging herself with food again. It took me about a week and a half of taking potassium supplements before I felt well enough to actually like start doing things again. Took about a week and a half. So if she's saying that she was so faint that she needed to go to the ER and repeating parts of my ER story to try and validate that she was in the ER, she shouldn't have been out within a day or two. Period. That's just ridiculous. Um, so anyway, I made it through without getting faint. That's a huge bonus. I was able to get through it without getting faint. Um, this is kind of the evaluation stage of what can I do when we finally settle with my employer, right? What am I going to be capable of? And I think it unlikely that I will be able to, at least in the beginning, work more than 4 hours a day. And it's going to have to be with lots of movement breaks because I can't sit the whole time. I can't stand the whole time. There's going to be a lot to it because part of the reason my condition got so bad is because of the modified duties. So when I was taken out of the field, because my job, for those of you who haven't really been following me and don't know what I was doing before I got injured, let me just give you a quick retelling of what happened. I was a team leader for a union pack, and I was training new hires. I had a team that I would monitor throughout the day. But more and more of those responsibilities were being taken away from me and the other team leaders as this was going on. That they wanted us to spend less and less time with the people who supposedly reported to us. I did not have hiring, firing, or disciplinary duties towards anybody on my team, period. So, as far as I'm concerned, I was a misclassified worker, but that's neither here nor there. One of the days when I was training a new hire, her phone died. And so while we were waiting for a field director to bring her a tablet so that she could complete the shift, we started walking together and just using my phone. We entered a duplex property. The gate was unlocked. There was a beware of dog sign, but it was tucked behind the right side of the gate. So coming in from the left, it was not visible. We could not see that sign. So our method was to always rattle the gate to see if there was an animal behind the gate somewhere. But these were two very old dogs that were sitting on the back property on this duplex. So I put my new canvasser on the front property to canvas that particular person. And I started walking back to the back property when I saw the dogs. And I turned around and tried to slowly walk back to the gate so as not to trigger chase instinct with these animals. But it was too late. It was an obese pit bull named Snoopy Doo, I think. I think that's what his name was. Who bit me in the back of my left leg. Now, it wasn't so much the bite. Fortunately, I had jeans on, so he didn't like tear open my leg or anything like that. There were some puncture marks, but it was mainly blunt force trauma, kind of like a Nancy Kerrigan style accident that happened to me, where he just nailed me really fucking hard on the inner left backside of my leg, which is where your main artery goes up. It's where your nervous system, like the main nervous system, all of that. And then on top of it, when they gave me modified duties, they stuck me in the basement of their headquarters, which requires two full length staircases to get there. And no, they had absolutely no elevator, right? How you doing, Revoke? Well, fortunately, I didn't get any infections or anything like that. And, I've been undergoing a lot of medical care since this started. Despite the fact that I had to get rid of my first attorney because he was kind of fucking off on getting me doctors and getting approvals. So we parted ways, if you will. And I have a new attorney now. But basically, my employer told me not to call 911 because they didn't trust the police. So I did not get a police report. I did not get animal control. And I was kept for the entirety of my shift that night. I wasn't even dismissed to actually seek medical attention that night. Despite the fact that I showed them all what it looked like and how severe it was, no. And then they put me on modified duties where I had to scale these enormous staircases to get to the basement of the building and then start searching for petitions in boxes on my hands and knees. It was intensive. It was still long hours. I mean, there was a day that I put in a 10-hour day doing that sort of stuff. And it was like, I told them, what you've given me here is hurting me even further. It's making it much worse. And I had to take days off at a time because I was in so much pain that I was like bedridden. My mom was coming over to do my dishes and my laundry because I could barely drive at times. You know, I've in the last 2 years I've been in the ER twice over this injury. So, and the potassium deficiency started developing after that injury because I started throwing up a lot. So I was losing nutrients, just like Eugenia was losing a lot of nutrients. That's why it's really interesting that some of her fans on New Year's Eve asked her if she needs potassium. Is that you guys? Is that my viewer base? Is that my viewer base? Because I've talked about it. It looks like I don't know how she could possibly have a normal, healthy potassium level if it was that difficult for me to maintain a normal potassium level. And I obviously have no weight issues in that regards. I'm on the upper level for my height. I'm 5'4.5". I weigh 145. That's on the upper level. And I'm, 49 going on 50. So that's perfectly healthy. But for some reason, my potassium dropped off severely and it put me in the hospital. She doesn't even get her blood checked. She doesn't get blood work done. She when asked whether or not she goes to see a doctor, she said, "Well, I got a flu shot." That's a nurse. That's like a stop at CVS. It's fucking stop at CVS. Yeah, totally. Revoke. Yeah, absolutely. You can. I have no problem with that. I've already done like 2 live streams naming her channel because I think she's absolutely ridiculous. And that particular live stream that I happened to catch going down my feed, she looked cracked out as hell. She even had something off camera on uh she had like a coffee table. She was making her dinner, right? She was making her dinner. She had dogs on the or a dog or a cat or something on the floor. She put her fucking food right down on the floor while she was messing around with something on the coffee table, and it sounded like she was smoking something. I mean, I don't want to make assumptions here, but she was acting really fucking strange in that live stream. And she apparently is like, "Oh, Jordy, you can use my clips at any time." But if us smaller people want to use her unedited clips where she's not even talking at all, give me a break. Yeah, you can absolutely say something. Oh God. Well, like who the hell wants it? You know what though? I'm so surprised, Revoke, that any of these people are making money. I'm surprised that Eugenia is making money. I'm surprised that Foodie Beauty is making money. I'm surprised that Amber Lynn is making money. Like I don't get it. Wow. Okay. So anyway, that I'll just drop the name. That's we're talking about Wolfgang Productions. And yeah, she appeared really fucking high in that live stream. Appeared, allegedly, whatever you want to say. But that's what it looked like. And she was just bitching about a small female channel that used some of her content. And that would be me. That's me. The thing is, it's not her content. Okay? If you screen cap Eugenia's TikTok feed, and just put it up on your goddamn channel with a watermark on it, it's not your fucking content. You, you didn't make that content. Give me a goddamn break. By the way, Revoke, I was actually talking about that when you wrote something about it yesterday. I was talking to my boyfriend about that. I'm like, hey, she's gonna do a video about me. That's so cool. It's possible. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, seriously, there's a lot of channels that just clip the footage and they don't add anything at all. I think this is one of the reasons that Jordy likes to use Piggy, right? That's another channel that does it occasionally. Um, it just makes it easier because, like, some of us don't even have TikTok accounts. Like, we don't have the kind of time that Jordy has to actually spend the entire evening recording her TikTok. You know, like, some of us have other things to do. Um, Made a video talking about it already, but I was being I don't know what is that. I kind of think I know what that's supposed to be. I'll probably still upload it anyway. Actually, I'm going to make it public. Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely. I'm totally cool with this. I don't care. Like, what is she going to do? Send people to my channel to troll and harass me? I already have, like, the only time you can, like, just drop a comment is when I'm on um, a live stream. But when I'm loading videos, all of those comments have to be approved in advance. And so I see all of the negative bullshit, and it's usually Eugeniacs. It usually is. Just being real. It's usually a bunch of people saying, "Why are you so mean to her?" Shut up, dude. She's an internet celebrity. She's putting herself out there. Oh yeah, I saw you write something about somebody trying to copyright your material. Holy crap. Like, why, like, that's so weird. Why would, you know what though? I've heard this is a problem with even like public domain music, like classical music that is in the public domain. Uh, Groups like Universal Music Group and shit are trying to copyright what is like public domain music. It's ridiculous. They're cracking down on Facebook right now too because I've been getting I used to do a lot of karaoke, right? And lately I've been getting copyright strikes on Facebook for karaoke I did like 2 years ago. So one of them was like Royals by Lord. That was the one today that I'm challenging. And I'm like, literally, I'm singing in my living room. Give me a break. The other one was One by Metallica. Metallica, I know, has been pretty hardcore about their copyrights ever since Napster in the early aughts. But I was in a karaoke bar, so it was fair use. It was fair use, totally, right? But but yeah, you definitely need to come down on whatever channel is trying to do that to your videos. That's some bullshit. Um, how can they copyright your own voice? That's ridiculous. Like that. And where is YouTube? You know what, Revoke? I've found that it is easier to get a response from YouTube if you actually contact them over Twitter X, right? And basically, if you go to the YouTube creator channel on Twitter, they're far more responsive than if you try and just use the forms. You know what I mean? The forms are crap. It is so difficult to actually file a challenge against um, a copyright strike, you know? And most content creators consider that like the really offensive to do to any other creators. You know, it's really considered bad form to do that. So the people who are doing it are trying. It's like shakedowns. They're trying to do shakedowns basically. Um, so, but anyway, getting back to the health story, I I've been injured since March 3rd, 2022, and I've had a lot of ups and downs. The first 6 months were very difficult. Difficult to drive, times when I had to spend like 3 days in bed at a time. Um, my employer was docking my pay. Even when they told me to go to the doctor, they would tell me to go to the doctor, tell me to go to the ER, and then dock my paycheck, despite the fact that I was a salaried employee. It was an absolute disaster, but it's all going to, when you're in a workers' comp situation, and the way it is now, it didn't used to be like this, but the way it is now is that at the end of 2 years after your injury, a final determination needs to be made about what is your future. Are you permanently disabled? Do you need to have some permanent restrictions? Like what happens next? And that's what I'm coming up on is March 3rd, 2024. So I have like a final panel thing happening this month. I'm going to be going through a lot of physical therapy, and they have to determine if basically if there's going to be ongoing medical that they have to pay for, and what sort of settlement they have to offer me, right? I To a certain degree, yes, I am permanently disabled. I have a permanent limp, and the kind of work I was doing, I was walking very steep neighborhoods 6 days a week, 8 hours a day, and then also doing some administrative duties as a team leader. So, um, I will get some sort of settlement and potentially some ongoing medical care, probably like physical therapy, something like that. But I have a permanent limp. It is very difficult for me to navigate stairs. It is hard for me to get up and down out of chairs. I've had several times where yeah, I'm in California. My leg has buckled under me several times where I've fallen to the ground. I fell on Christmas Eve when I was with my mom having dinner. On the way back to the car, I stepped off the curb and totally collapsed. When I went to the beach with my boyfriend, I stepped on the curb and totally collapsed. When I have gotten out of the shower, I have fallen. When I've tried to put pants on, I have fallen. Um, I've had it happen several times, not only this year, but last year too, in which my leg just completely buckles under me at this point because it's not only do I have like this nerve damage from the situation, but I now also have muscle atrophy as a result of being much more sedentary than I was formerly. Like I was working out every day, right? My butt was so tight, it was great. But yeah, I was in great shape. Um, I had some joint pain as a result of doing that kind of work at my age, but nothing like getting attacked by an obese pit bull. But we also just made an arrangement with the dog owner because they were trying to sue me for trespassing, which is ridiculous. I had every right to be there, but in order to challenge that type of lawsuit, you have to have a retainer and an attorney, and it's expensive just getting in the door to actually defend yourself. And I don't have that. So we agreed to drop both of our cases because that's all we can do. It was a mess. So anyway, Foodie Beauty is on her way back to Kuwait apparently. Well, I don't think she is today because she bought too much weed. I mentioned something about that the other day, that the amount of weed that she showed us in her weed haul was not something that she could consume in one day. Well, I don't know. I couldn't consume that in one day. There's no way I could consume that in one day. And she was talking about buying even more. So there's no way she's flying out to Kuwait because you can't take that on the plane with you, right? And I don't see her as being the kind of person that would be like, "Hey, Pete, you want the rest of my weed?" I don't see that happening. Amberlyn is apparently trying to blame her ex, Casey, for the shit that she did to him like 15 years ago. Oh, that would be great. I don't know how she could do it though. I don't know. She probably has enough like pockets, right? Just enough like fat roll pockets where she could actually hide some of those gummies, right? Some of these people are just hilariously bad. And did you see the Coline Balinger thing revoke? So I didn't watch the actual video, but I watched Peter Mon's response to it. Peter Griffin did it. That's good. I watched Peter Mon's response to the Coline Ballinger thing. So she still hasn't quite figured out how to like get beyond the fact that she was a groomer and she was doing inappropriate things with minors. Not only the conversations, but sharing the nudes and the way she treated kids on stage during her shows. Um, None of that has really, it hasn't been apologized for. And she has not said the names of her victims, the ones who have been most vocal at least. Um, she's probably losing a lot of money. And Peter Mon said she's probably going to have to downsize her lifestyle because even if she's still making money on the older videos at this point, she's not making enough money to sustain the way she's living today. And the whole rock collection thing is weird as fuck. So she's like started collecting rocks, taking them off of California beaches, which is illegal. Can't do that, you guys. You can't be going to the beach and taking shells and rocks and stuff like that. It's illegal. The only one protecting her is JoJo Siwa, who surprise met her when she was 12. Yeah, I know. I know. It was like when JoJo was saying her story to Howie Mandel, it was like, are you listening to yourself? Are you hearing what you're having to say about how she was your bestie at age 12 while she was like in her 20s? That's not strange to you, JoJo? Okay, right? That was weird as fuck. So you're right. JoJo, I think, is the only one still around, and pretty much all she has to talk about now is her rock collection, which is illegal. You can't take rocks from the beach. And welcome, Clara. That's all she's got, and quite frankly, it looks unhinged, right? So if you go from being this child influencer, which is what she was, who was having inappropriate conversations with her minor fans, and even just the names of those groups, the Weenies, Corey's Clit, some of the shit that was circulating around this woman was so obviously wrong. It really didn't make any sense. You know what though? Nobody's suing her, and I think some of them actually are beyond the statute of limitations at this point. But I'm surprised that LAPD. Actually, I don't think she's in LA. I think she's in Ventura County. I'm surprised that the local police agency didn't once this all started like coming out, open an investigation. Like, it seems like people who are online can really get away with anything, right? And then we got the Ruby and Jody's sentencing coming up too. That's going to be February 20th. I don't know if you saw the Jody thing. What her basically her guilty plea was almost identical to Ruby's, except that she also admitted to pushing Eve, the 10-year-old daughter, into a cactus. They that might be under discussion, but they haven't made it official. It's going to be on February 20th, but they're probably ultimately it's up to the judge, not the prosecution, not the defense or whatever, but they can probably make like some recommendations about um, what they think is appropriate. But it's going to ultimately be the judge's decision. And this is when we're going to really find out like how well connected they are in the LDS church and whether or not the judge is going to pull favors, you know? Because that's part of the reason they were able to get away with what they did was because they were so well connected into the LDS church. I mean, like Jody was getting recommendations for her clientele from bishops and shit. Did Colleen write off her OnlyFans subscription to Trisha Paytas? Was written on. Oh. It's written off as a business expense. That's interesting. Um, would that be a write off or a write down? Because these are two different things, right? A write off is when it's an unclaimable. You've made some sort of accounting error. Whereas a write down is more of just like a correction, like you're making a correction to the books. So it's been a long time since I was in an accounting department, but there were two different terms. There was write down and write off, and write off generally meant that we were just letting it go. We're just we're not gonna try and collect that debt anymore, right? But a write down was we've discovered an error in the way that we were calculating things, and so we're making a correction. I think what you're talking about is more like a submitted as a tax deduction, right? So it still gets accounted for, but it's submitted as like a business expense tax deduction, right? Yeah, I could see that being real, Clara. That she could have expensed it. Being an artist, they find reasons. Yeah, yeah, I get that. I get that. That makes more sense because, um, yeah, these are very specific sort of accounting terms and stuff. Okay, cool, cool. Revoke. I will definitely check out your next video. I'm not going to be on much longer anyway because I hate going live for a long period of time. I start getting nervous about it. So, anyway, those are my thoughts on like the big ones. Coline, Foodie Beauty, Amber Lynn apparently is being a dick to Casey right now. Um, and that sucks. Like, these are horrible people. These are Eugenia. They're all horrible people. Let's be real. Thank you, Clara. Thank you for your kind words. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up because I gotta make some dinner and stuff. But oh my god, with these people, they're crazy, aren't they? They're just nuts. All right, well, allegedly, allegedly. All right, take care, y'all.